Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Welcome back to Chopping It Up, the only horror podcast that slices and dices for your listening pleasure. Tonight we're chopping up Robert Eggers' 2015 gothic folk horror masterpiece, The Witch. If you're interested in watching this movie, it's now available for free via the Plex app. As a reminder, Prime Cuts is designed as a quick-hitting, free-form conversation where we discuss a breadth of horror mediums, including anthologies, theatrical releases, graphic novels, shorts, and other forms of media. There is no set agenda here as we shoot from the hip and provide any gleaned insights from our respective viewings. All right, guys. I know some of you have seen this before. Jeannie, had you seen it before?
Yeah, I think I might have even told you about it.
No way. I was way in on Robert Eggers. Are you sure?
I remember watching it with like Kara and her brother and her sister. So I'm thinking it might have been like Thanksgiving. There was like a lot of people around.
I mean, it's possible. Sled, did I turn you on to this? I feel like you were at my house when we watched
Yeah,
this.
you and I watched it the first time. I don't know. I think you had already seen it, but the first time I watched it when I was at your house. I had gone there for a conference and I stayed extra and just stayed night. And we watched it down in your basement.
Yeah, dude. And Joel, you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I had seen it, but I had forgotten it. I think I might have been a little drunk when I watched it the first time.
I think we're all in the same boat, Sled, unless you've had repeat watchings in between, but I hadn't seen it for
I'd
years.
seen it.
This is the first time I sat down and rewatched it like closely again. I have like background watched it a couple times.
So what do we think?
I loved it.
Yeah, I always love creepy folk horror, and then you add the whole Puritan aspect into it, and of course, witchery.
Witch, you do love your witches.
I know, always a witch.
I mean, I love this movie. Like I liked it the first time I watched it. The more times I've rewatched it, I like it more. I just think it's incredibly well made.
Yeah.
And like performed both visually and like auditorily, like just the atmosphere of
the accents,
dread
everything
that it builds, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, it has no cheap scares, right? It's just like this steadily building weight that like presses down on you through like out the entire movie is what I feel like as you watch it, to where it just gets like more and more uncomfortable to watch. Like I like it, but it's like it just you feel it just presses on you.
There's only there's one jump scare. I was thinking the same thing, Sled. It's more that Eggers just builds this foreboding mood, this tense, this anxious, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. But the one jump scare is when Black Phillip gores him, right?
Yeah.
That's the only time you get that sort of, I wouldn't even call it cheap scare, but it's just like the only time you're surprised by something. But he earns every second of your discomfort as you watch it. It's funny you mentioned the score, the music, or however you placed it, the sound is auditory, because Eggers is real, as I understand it when I was reading up on this, doing a little research for this app. He wanted the movie to have no music, no score, no nothing. You get nothing but like crackling branches and twigs and the sound of what,
weird.
He realized it wouldn't work for, I'm not sure what reason, but it's still pretty bare bones, even as far as the score goes. You're getting the violins.
It's selected. It's just, and it has like a, honestly, I mean, one of the notes one of the movies that reminds me of the most a little bit is actually probably The Shining. I mean, there's different stuff that happens in it, but a lot of the feel of it reminds me of The Shining, and even some of the way it's what's happening. Like you're in this, wintry kind of landscape, and it's kind of like losing touch with like,
and it's family devolving,
family that's like breaking down basically over time, like and. But The Shining does a lot of that stuff too, as far as like just the cinematography and the sound. Like it does a lot with like the sound to try and like get under your skin while it's playing.
Well,
And
it's
Eggers himself does this on. I mean, I don't know if y'all have seen The Lighthouse, but he does a lot.
Yes.
Like The Lighthouse is the
Yeah.
same kind of like it's just like
Yes.
and Nosferatu. I went and saw that in the theater. It's the same kind of thing where it's just like it's heavy, like it's just like you're like kind of bombarded by like sensory overload, like from all kinds of directions.
The scene with the witch after the baby is stolen.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's I don't know how to describe it other than this. So it sounds wet, right? Like she's like rubbing the blood
Yeah.
of the baby on. Like it sounds wet. It's so fucking gross.
Well, for the
it's great.
Yeah, for
It's
the
great.
uninitiated, within the first, I don't know, 15 minutes,
15 minutes. Yeah,
you get a baby being ground by mortar and pestle by a witch in her place, mushed to basically paste to be rubbed all over her naked body and onto her broomstick, which helps her fly. Right? That's baby lard. I think was something that was always sought after, according to witch folklore. But before we get too out over our skis, it's funny. I'll make myself sound super erudite here. I was reading Carl Sagan's The Demon Haunted World, which I've been picking through for a while now. And I came across a passage that I thought, this was just a couple hours ago, that I thought was pretty apropos because, like you said, Jeannie, this is the time of the Puritans, early 1600s, New England area. This is even pre-witchcraft trials, right?
Yeah.
But you're starting to get the antecedents of that. And just the utter, like the puritanical belief, that the almost Calvinist belief system that this family has. We know they get jettisoned from
the Puritans.
From the Puritans. They're too
Puritans.
pure for the Puritans. So, and that reminded me their beliefs, their unwavering beliefs in this. So I'll just read this passage from the Sagan book, the Demon Haunted World. So, A Candle in the Dark is the title of a courageous, largely biblically based book by Thomas Adey, published in London in 1656, attacking the witch hunts then in progress as a scam, quote unquote, to delude the people. Any illness or storm, anything out of the ordinary, was popularly attributed to witchcraft. Witches must exist. Adey quoted the witchmongers as arguing, quote, else how should these things be or come to pass? For much of our history, we were so fearful of the outside world with its unpredictable dangers that we gladly embraced anything that promised to soften or explain away the terror. And of course, he juxtaposes that with science and elucidating people in terms of knowledge and stuff, so on and so forth. But I mean, that's what we're looking at here. If anything, we know by the end of it that the daughter, Thomason, can't, everyone else in her family is dead. She can't go return to the rest of the colony to be like, hey, I can't survive out here. These awful accidents befell me. They'll go, no, you're a witch. And now we're going to burn you. So ultimately she has no choice but to turn to witchcraft. But I had go ahead, Gene.
I was like, and that's the only time that she smiled in the movie.
Mm.
Right.
I was listening to a podcast that was arguing, sort of hedging their bets, but arguing that the ending was a happy ending.
Yeah. I mean, she got her own autonomy, right? She got to kind of choose like, well, you guys are accusing me of this, so then I'm going to fully embrace it. And
there's a scene in the very beginning, and I was reading some articles about this where the main character, what's her name? Do you guys remember?
Thomason.
When she is, when the family is standing in front of the council or whatever, and they're being tried, she's the one that hesitates to like leave. And then they do some things with the cinematography, also that like, narrows in on her and so on. So it's like, clearly, they're trying to delineate some sort of like
a divide.
Focus on what's that?
I was going to say a divide. I'm not sure if that's what you're
looking at. Yeah. Like, so that she is much more upset about like being cast out in the world than the rest of the family. Right. So when she finally finds like, her people effectively, right. I could see it being argued as a happy ending.
Yeah. I mean, we start out getting her confessional, which is like, I haven't been praying. I haven't been doing this. Right. I've been running around. It's like all very normal things for a young teenage girl to have. It's like, yeah, I don't want to pray 55 times a day. I don't want to do, I'm going to go milk the goat or milk the cows and tend to the goats and all the, like, of course she's having these thoughts, but she hates herself for it. She feels inadequate. She feels other with a capital O for it. But I mean, I want to jump right into the big thing here because I feel like I missed this, and I'm watching it and I'm breaking it down and stuff. Was she a witch the whole time?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think she was. Go ahead. You first, Jeannie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm gonna argue no.
I agree.
But then I think she kind of, when she saw like nobody was really believing her, I think that's when she kind of at some point, I think she accepts it. Maybe that's at the end.
Well, I know that Black Phillip at the end offers for her to sign the book. Mm-hmm. I'll guide your hand. You know, obviously, wouldst thou look to live deliciously? Right?
Would thou like to live deliciously?
Yes.
Did you guys catch that she didn't know how to read or write?
Right. Well, of course, she's busy fucking building buildings and.
Well, that's again, it's a mechanism of control, right? Like, so it's very purposely said there, right?
Well, also because if you noted, that's a good point, Joel. Caleb knows how to read. Mm-hmm. Caleb's a boy.
Yeah.
Yep. The energies are put forth for Caleb to learn how to hunt and to go collect the traps. And he's younger. It doesn't matter. He's going to carry. So, right. I mean, that's the patriarchy at play there. I mean, there's definitely that element.
They're talking about
young man. He's just a girl.
Exactly, Sled. No, but I always got that confused watching it because I was like retrofitting it and being like, well, yeah, all of those incidents make sense now if you just attribute them to Thomason being a witch the whole time, stealing the baby. And like, I don't know how much of this is Eggers doing an intentional, unreliable narrator, right? Because there's some reference made to, that he can't grow anything, right? The dad, William. Yeah. So the corn is bad, right? And it's a certain kind of corn.
Yeah, the dad seems like a fucking bum.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, hold on. The corn the corn is bad. And there's some kind of specific corn. And I researched it. I heard it, read it somewhere that it's a hallucinogen.
Yeah.
And so the idea is Eggers sort of soft denied the fact. So I'm thinking, are these people all tripping balls and maybe we're not seeing what actually was happening? Maybe it was Thomason the whole time. Do you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what
Yeah. I mean, the way I took it, at least, was that a lot of the people that came over when they migrated here, right? Like, and they were clearly new immigrants because they were talking about England and
she wanted to go back. They're still speaking in
Yeah.
So they were very, within a couple of years. These people weren't like farmers back in England, or right? Like at least not in England. No. So like he was probably, I always took it as like the family's just probably shitty farmers, right? That's probably most people, and they would just be bad at it. And then they got the bad luck of some sort of blight, which you're absolutely right, Jesse. In the like, there are theories about like this type of, I think it's a fungus that grows on the corn. Yeah. That is a hallucinogen, right? And that fed into the Salem madness, right? And I think he's playing on that some, but I think he sows, no pun intended, all these seeds to kind of give us a little bit of doubt. Like, is this all really happening up until the very end?
Yeah.
And she flies, right? Yeah. And then you're like, oh, well, shit. She's
yeah.
Witchcraft's real, apparently, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, even at that, I think you could possibly interpret it that was still just her. I think there's an interpretation of this movie that there's nothing actually supernatural happening the entire time. That it's just
at all, right? Yeah.
It's the fear that creates it. Like, it's the fear of witches that is destructive, not simply that witches are real, right?
Right.
I mean, because I just think it's so funny. Like, she's joking and teasing her younger sibling, and then she uses that against her, and the family believes her.
Yeah. I mean, that's the time. Like we said, that's why I read that passage from the Sagan book. I mean, this was the belief system, and it's funny because, I was trying to immerse myself in this hyper religious ecosystem, for lack of a better term, right? Like witches exist, the devil exists in the shape of a goat, which is also something that's typical. The rabbits that appear are also attributed to witches, shape-shifting. They often appear as rabbits. There is a god, and so there is a god. We don't hear from him or her or it or see or have anything divine, anything from them, which to me doesn't mean that this is
they were forsaken, got kicked out.
Exactly. I mean, it wasn't that God wasn't present.
How fucking obnoxious you got to get kicked, because the Puritans themselves were already, my understanding, were just such a pack of cunts. That's why they got ran out of England.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
And
they were not.
It was too pure for them. Like what?
It was the Puritans were Ned Flanders is.
Well, you see, you see as they're being ejected from the village, right, the colony, that there are people of color there. There's Native Americans there. This is not like like they're too pure for people who have anything to do with anyone. Is not the absolute text, verse and whatever of the Bible. So and that brings you back to Sled, your point. If you'd love to go on a diatribe here on William, the father, the patriarch of this whole shindig, what have you to say about him, Sled?
He's a bum.
He's a fucking loser. He seems like a jerk off.
He seems like he can split wood well. That's the only thing we really actually. That's the one thing he said that he can do well. Right?
That's the old way. The modern version of that is slinking off to the bathroom to take a shit and playing around on your cell phone for a half hour. That's him going out to go chop wood to get away from the family. But the biggest thing about him, where his lack of character comes to light, is he's willing to have his daughter and his son take the fall for the silver cup that is his wife's that he has to hawk to get money so that he can buy traps so that they can eat. Let's gladly throws his own children under the bus for that one. Doesn't reveal that until
generally incompetence is supposed to be I feel like the theme of it. Like he's just incompetent in everything. Yeah. Like,
did you guys catch who he is? Like, as an actor? He was in a big role very recently.
No, let's hear it. I can't place him at all.
He's the voice of Galactus. So in the brand new Fantastic Four movie, he is the voice of Galactus, like the big bad.
Somewhere Jazz-Jet's ears are ringing because I don't know shit from this.
Jazz-Jet just woke up.
He's in Buster Scruggs. If you remember, did you watch Buster Scruggs? So
yes.
The part he plays in that is when it's in the one with James Franco, and he's gonna get hung. And then the guy
first time.
Oh yeah,
you'll recognize his voice. He's got that really characteristic, like he's got such a deep,
super baritone,
basso profundo, like gravelly voice, and he's like, "You got anything to say for yourself?" Like when they're getting ready to hang him or whatever. So he's in that. I think he was in Game of Thrones. Didn't he play one of the Greyjoys in that?
Yeah, the wife was also in something else.
The wife was in
Game of Thrones.
The wife
played Catelyn Stark's sister, the one with the creepy little son who was still breastfeeding when he was like 8.
The wife was also in. She was in Prometheus. If you ever saw that,
I have seen that. I don't remember who. I know I saw that she was in it when I was reading the thing, but I don't remember her character.
It says Ford, so I think she's just one of the crewmen.
Oh, okay. Joel, did you have anything on the son, Caleb, who Harvey Scrimshaw is the actor?
I'll look him up real quick. You guys,
that's a little boy. Like
the boy, I thought he was.
That monologue was fantastic when he was like about to die, incredible.
So he's on. Sure. Yeah, Caleb. Yeah, after he throws up the apple, he gets. We've spoiled the hell out of this. If you haven't seen this, you haven't seen this movie. You probably can't listen to this episode yet. You probably should go back in. But Caleb very early on, or in the earlier half of the movie, ends up in the woods, isolated, and falls upon the witch who entices him. Appears as this beautiful woman. Yeah, beautiful woman, and turns into her old raggedy ass 2 a.m.
A crone.
Oh,
which again, actually, I didn't even think about that, but this movie reminded me of The Shining, but that's another thing that kind of it's almost.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sure, the exact same thing with in the bathtub. Yeah, with Nicholson. But what I was going to say is he ends up getting poisoned by the witch. He makes it back home. Is in a delirium and vomits this apple, this that she, I guess, shoves down his throat. And in any event, he comes to for a moment, and then he gives you this monologue about he's seen heaven and he's going to be embraced. But I thought the way he was talking sounded fucked up. And I think, wasn't that the devil possessing him and doing a mockery of what
maybe it could have been, right? Like, that's a legitimate interpretation.
Yeah.
I took it as he was like in full delirium, right? Like he was just screaming religious, nonsense because his brain was melting from whatever
he looked
sickness.
Like in ecstasy. Like he was like getting off. I mean, he was like, he had seen it. And this is the best thing that was ever going to happen. And so now he's okay with dying. I mean, I'm just inferring all of that, but,
so he, just to answer your earlier question, he is in a few other things, something called the School for Good and Evil, which looks to be, it's a fairly big project. There's a lot of, like, Lawrence Fishburne's in it, a bunch of other people, but I would say this is probably his biggest role so far, is in The Witch.
I don't know how. I feel like I kind of interpret it like he was rejecting evil and he died or something. Like he escaped that whatever that they were in.
Why didn't she?
Do you think it's a coincidence that he vomited up an apple?
Well, I mean, let's look at the symbolism of the apple.
No, I didn't think it was. That's a good call out. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, let's get into the symbolism in a second, Jeannie, for sure. But I was going to say, before we get to the all of the stuff that tend into the implications that come along with the apple as an image and as a representation of other things, he lies about going out to pick apples. He lies for his father.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was about the apples. And then he really wasn't out there for that. And I think the witch basically was like, oh, here's your fucking lies shoved right back down your throat, and they're going to be made plain for everyone to see, and they're going to be cause of your demise. Now, the representation of the apple as what, Jeannie? Garden of Eden, innocence, loss of...
Oh, yeah. Temptation. Let me just look at my notes. His lie made manifest, Puritan symbol of sin, and then the biblical symbol of temptation, which all kind of goes back to him kind of going through puberty and not having the language around it, right? Like he feels shame because he's sexually attracted to Thomason, and he knows that's wrong, but he doesn't have the language for that, right? And then he sees this witch and
and gives
literal... he's been taught to fear.
This is the first woman that he's seen that he's allowed to be attracted to.
Yes.
Right? Because they've been jettisoned. They've been excommunicated. They're out there by themselves. I don't even know that he wants his sister Thomason so much as she is a developing young woman, and he just sees these things. And he's like,
female.
He's just like, I'm just looking at this and I'm like, this is what I want. Not her necessarily, but like, I know I should be ashamed of that because it's my sister. And I think she intuits that he's looking, right? She knows that he's looking at her a certain way. She still loves him. And I think she understands that he's just going through puberty.
Right.
So no, go ahead, Jeannie.
Oh, just they're so taught, much like Puritan culture nowadays, right? That any type of desire, any type of sexual thing like that is so sinful. Like he says something about his sin, and like he knows it. When him and his dad are walking in the woods at the first part, he says something about his sin, and they're talking about like if Samuel and like when he was born, and how he recognizes that he has this sin inside of him.
Yeah, I heard that too, but I couldn't quite piece. Like I had the subtitles on.
Well, I was going to say, Joel, listen to this. So they're speaking in a classic dialect, right? And they still have it's not just the construct of the language syntactically, it's the accent, like the thick Northern England brogue. And they're doing it, this was something that, so if you know Eggers, and I remember the first time around when I watched this years ago, I remember doing a little bit of a deep dive on him. He grew up in the New England and New Hampshire, I think, but his father was an English professor at a college around there who taught Shakespeare and was, he grew up with this language in and around it. And so he wanted this sense of verisimilitude. He wanted this truth and accuracy to the language, to the attention to the way that the structures, the housing was constructed. He called in experts from across the world to make sure that the thatch huts were built exactly the way it was supposed to be built. So we see that and we hear it. And that's what we started off with, Sled, saying it draws you in, visually immerses you audibly, like every aspect of this. I mean, we just talked about the boy Caleb, the actor, Harvey Scrimshaw, and Thomason. Every single actor in this, from soup to nuts, whatever role they had, they all nailed it. I mean, there's no weak links. There's no weak links. You're just like immersed in this as soon as you start watching.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so excited to see the werewolf movie he's doing, which is also going to be a period piece.
Yeah, when's that supposed to come out? Like next?
I think 2026.
Like next year.
Or is it in December?
I believe it's in December. I have it written down here. Werewolf 12. Oh, Christmas Day. Is that possible? That's what I have.
What?
In theaters on Christmas Day.
Werewolf.
So I guess, fuck the family. I guess we're going out for
yeah, but Christmas Day 2026.
Oh, is that right? Oh no.
Oh yeah. December 25th, 2026.
I was all excited. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's working on some other movies, supposedly. I had saw that they're talking about Christmas Carol adaptation that he might be working on, like a new version of that with
that could be fun.
That would be awesome.
Ebenezer Scrooge, and then a sequel to Labyrinth.
That's interesting.
No,
did y'all know he's 42? He's younger than us.
Yeah, I know. I knew he was young. Yeah,
he's born in what, 83?
Yeah,
he's a virtuoso. He's a virtuoso. I mean, Sled mentioned earlier the Lighthouse. You know, it's basically a 2-man play with Willem Dafoe and what's his face? What's his name, Jeannie?
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson. They nailed it. Actor,
by the way.
Yeah. So he has an eye, obviously, for the cast and the crew. He knows what he wants, and he has this.
And Nosferatu also.
Nosferatu.
How was Nosferatu? I haven't seen it yet.
I liked it. I saw it in the theater. It's definitely like he definitely likes to overwhelm your senses. Like all of his movies are like things that like there's certain things that I like to see in theaters versus some things where I don't really care. And he makes movies that I feel like if you're not seeing him in the theater, you're not always getting the full effect. I mean, I know it's hard to go see things in theaters, but there's definitely some stuff where it's like you're going to get more if you see it in the theater. When I saw Nosferatu, I remember, the way they marketed it was kind of fucking bullshit because they made it sound like it was only going to be in theaters on Christmas Day, I think is what it was. Because I went and saw it on Christmas Day, and then it was like, oh, that was true. Like it was in theaters for a little while. But I remember going to see it, and like I don't know if the people in there didn't know what they were going to get, but the people who were on the aisle when I was getting up to leave, there was like a couple in there with their kids, and they had like and these kids were like 9 or 10.
Oh my God.
I was just like, and they looked like
what?
Utterly
it was intense, wasn't
it?
Like
walking out of it, they just seemed like they were kind of like what the fuck did I just watch? Like I was just like, okay, like, but yeah.
Well, I don't want to pull this back too much, but I had some questions off the top of my head about the witch. So the two twins, we haven't talked about those little irritating assholes, right? The two little, the sister and brother, the younger siblings of Thomason and.
I mean, the actors did a really good job, but
tremendous job. And I don't know how they were able to act that well since they have no necks. Like I don't know how the blood went to their brain stems. So like, were they always in thrall of the devil? Were they agents of the devil? Were they acolytes? I mean, they were buddies with Black Phillip. We'll get into more into Black Phillip in a moment, but like,
I don't think so. The way I always, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeannie.
No, I was agreeing with you.
I always took it as like, young children are supposed to be sensitive to all this stuff. So I always just took it as Black Phillip can connect with them easily, right? So he's influencing the overall family by messing with them, right? That's just kind of how I took it.
And
I just think it's there to plant the seeds.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's more, I mean, we all know kids are weird.
Right.
And they glom onto weird shit. and there's nothing else to do out there. So yeah, sure, let's talk to Black Phillip. Let's dance around. I mean,
now,
game, right?
Attendant to that. So when Caleb comes back and he's after he's been assaulted by the witch, he comes back and they're trying to nurse him back to health upstairs, and everyone's up there, and he starts going into these spasms, and then they start going into spasms, holding their stomach, saying they've forgotten the Lord's Prayer, right? When everyone wants everyone to pray around Caleb.
Just being whiny brats.
Are they just being assholes?
Yes.
They were,
yes.
absolutely, because at one point he's like, I'm going to pick, the father says, I'm going to pick him up and dash his head up against a rock. And then they snap right to, right? Like they pop right up.
Yes.
They were just faking it.
They totally were buying into that hysteria.
They're the worst little shitheads in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look when they were outside playing and all this stuff was happening and they're just like...
Because
they're villains.
When we first meet them.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, one of them, I can't remember her name, but she starts out saying she's the Witch of the Woods.
Yeah, Mabel. Right?
Yeah. And she starts messing. That's when Thomason loses her shit. She's tired of them irritating her. She's like, no, I'm the real witch. And then they use that against her.
Yes.
Man, well, at least I'm glad they got chained to the fence later on, or strapped to the fence later on. That's the only way to keep track of those two little assholes.
Yeah, well, I think again, it's like it gave Thomason autonomy because she chooses to be the witch at the end, and I feel like with the twins, Black Phillip was like, "Oh, you want to fuck around with me? You want to sing songs about me? You want to pretend to be possessed? You're gonna fuck around and find out." And then Black Phillip, like, that's the find out part of it for the twins. So
the question about Black Phillip, we'll get into Sled's favorite character of all time. Sled, by the way, little known fact, twin sons, different mothers, Black Phillip and Sled. So obviously he is a vessel for the devil, right? To communicate. Mm-hmm. But the devil takes many forms, so it's just like it wasn't always Black Phillip, right? This is just the devil jumping into this goat's body for some undetermined period of time to do his business. Is that,
or the devil can transform himself into
these different shapes?
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it.
Because at the end, when he is trying to court Thomason to getting her to sign her name into the book to become officially part of this coven. You know, he's like, "I'll guide." She doesn't know how to write. He says, "I'll guide your hand." And he's no longer the goat form anymore. He's a human. We see the boots.
Like our oat man.
We see, and he's got this gloved hand around her. We never see him in full. We don't see his face or anything. So that's Satan, correct?
Yeah,
I think so. The actor who played
demon in the story.
The actor who played, like, voiced it, basically, because you don't really see him very much. His name is Daniel Malik, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Okay. He's not been in a ton, though. It looks like he does a lot of kind of voice acting type stuff in TV, but it's hard to tell.
I mean, he has that really I know he was doing, that was the voice that he was supposed to do according to the screenplay or whatever.
Yeah.
But that silky smooth,
soft, persuasive, formal,
and he's
velvety.
He's supposed, it's supposed to be velvety because he's supposed to be
seduction in a power sense.
There it is.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be seductive. Yeah, he's supposed to be enticing. Yeah. You know, you want to be a part of it. And Thomason is the perfect situation and the perfect person to take advantage of that. And I was listening to another podcast earlier today, actually, which was funny because it's sort of happenstance. Like, they've been courting Thomason through this whole thing. But, like, if at the end when her mom attacks her and they're fighting, if the mom wins and kills her instead of Thomason killing the mom, surely Black Phillip would take the opportunity to try to get her in the coven. And I have to think she would bite on that, right? Because she was just lamenting earlier. She wants to go back home to England. She's doubting her beliefs. She's got to.
Yes. And if you
think her whole family's dead at that point.
Yeah. And when Black Phillip finally speaks to Thomason, it's not until she's lost her entire family. She's been isolated. She's been blamed for witchcraft.
Yep.
Right? And she's reached this total despair because she can't go back to the village. And that's when it's
nothing to lose, right?
Deal with the devil. Looks pretty great right now in the 1600s.
What I really liked about Eggers doing this was he didn't beat around the bush. A lot of these a lot of these movies, I mean, I'm thinking of like Blair Witch or whatever, and any other, they circle around it, but you never get much of the witch, or they might even leave it to the imagination of, well, was this an actual witch, or the audience will have to figure out. Dude, he gives us the witch, like we said early on. We see her and doing her awful business with the baby and with Caleb, and and also I think like Black Phillip is the devil. They give us Black Phillip talking to her as the devil. I'm so happy that happened, because like I thought the first time I saw it that we just weren't going to get that. We were just going to have to be like, was Black Phillip actually the devil, or just a fucked up goat, with an attitude?
Those New England goats.
Fucking
I don't know if y'all know them, but they're fucked up goats with an attitude.
Jeannie, they said
that guy.
I was gonna say, Joel, behind the scenes, that guy William got injured from the Black Phillip multiple times. That goat hated him on the set, for real. Now we were just delving into Black Phillip and as the representative of the devil and the shape shifting and all of that stuff. I'm just glad that they gave it to us, so there's no doubt. Just imagine if you were actually someone from back in those days and you could just show them this film, they go fucking bonkers, right? They'd be like, this is all real. I knew we were fucking right. But no, that was, I mean, I was just thinking about how that could have gone so many different ways if the father, William, going back to him being just such a jerk off, if he had just sought help, right? He went somewhere. I don't know if he went back or went into another town, but he sold that silver cup. Yeah. He certainly could have said, we're having trouble out here. We need help, or can we come here and get help, or what can we do to make this work? But he was too prideful. I mean, you think about all the sins that the family commits, all under the auspices of being this hyper-religious, puritanical family, and here they are. They steal, they lie, they have impure thoughts, they do all of these things. It's almost like
the mother is wrathful at the end. She straight up tries to murder
her daughter,
her own daughter.
Yeah,
right. Like,
how about the scene with the crow pecking at her teat?
Oh my god,
man.
So that really happened, right? Because she wakes up the next morning and she's got blood on her shirt, right? That wasn't a dream.
No, that, I mean, in the context of the film, and it was gross. It was, that was a hell of a nasty scene.
Dude, the movie's it's such a, we've long argued in the couple of years we've been doing this with Chopping It Up, about, especially with Jazz, what constitutes a horror movie. And Sled has a very broad definition of that. And I was just thinking, like, there's not a ton of gore. I mean, we don't actually see the baby get right. It's all you're left to your imagination for much of this. And like you said, it's mostly mood setting. And I was just thinking about that. Like, how does this fit into, I know we would categorize it as a subgenre of folk horror, but
I think so.
But like, it really is a mood. And like, that's horror. And I'm such a cheap, I'm like slasher, bad campy, give me blood and guts all the time horror fan. But this is really the platonic ideal of what horror is as a state of mind, right? And how you feel and evoking those feelings. So Edgar's he's a virtuoso. I'll watch everything he ever does. He's earned it.
Yeah.
Agree.
I think this is, Jesse and I were talking about this, I don't know, a couple days ago, that I think this is probably in my top like 3 or so folk horror movies. And I was thinking, like, I love Midsommar, or however you properly pronounce it.
Right.
And I love The Wicker Man.
I didn't know folk horror was actually a genre.
Oh yeah,
man.
It's a subgenre. The
Wicker Man?
Wicker Man, that was what I was saying. That's my number one.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
The Wicker Man, Midsommar, and The Witch. Not in order for me, but just like, those are great.
Sled, folk horror.
Harley rigs.
It's just corn rigs. Sled, we were talking about The Ritual as folk horror in a way, which I know you like.
The Ritual.
So The Ritual, the ending unfurls. The Ritual is just a bunch of guys going out for, they do an annual getaway together. They're all in their 20s, I think.
Oh, okay.
And they do that. Yeah, and one year they are like going to go on this hike. Where the hell are they? I can't remember.
Sweden, I think, or something like that.
That's where they're supposed to be in Sweden.
Yes,
At least definitely
Or
one
a
of
trip
those.
Scandinavia, right? Like
to a most dangerous country in Europe, Sweden.
There you go. And
did not know Sweden was the most dangerous country in Europe, but
what was that on? Someone fucking said that to me the other day, and I was like, "What the?" Like, I just kind of like looked at him and like ignored it.
Oh, that Sweden was.
Did that come out somewhere recently that's supposedly the most dangerous country in Europe?
Oh God,
that sounds insane.
Yeah, I guess it's dangerous if you're not like blonde hair and blue eyed. I don't know.
My understanding is the other people that are dangerous. That's what this person was trying to tell me. It's because they've had too many immigrants come or something. And I was just like,
that sounds crazy.
Well, that's why I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah, the 6% of others are the problem, right? Yeah, that's it. All right, we got anything else? I think we should probably wrap unless we got any other heavy themes here. I don't feel like we got into Black Phillip enough, Sled. I thought you were going to give us more here as your spirit animal, but
the goat does a really good job. I like the lore background on the goat being a piece of shit, like for the actual filming. Like,
well, they had to throw him in the I mean, it's real.
I like goats. And goats in general are funny animals. If you've ever spent time around goats, they're just very like, I don't know, goats and donkeys. They're like just very kind of belligerent, like stubborn, like have their own like really strong personalities.
They're a lot like 7th graders.
Playfully dangerous. Like they might accidentally kill you just like thinking they're playing with you, kind of.
Right.
Animals.
I mean, my only interaction is going to the farm every October prepping for Halloween, where they've got the little pen of, fat goats who get fed everything under the sun, and you just feed them through the wire, and they got those creepy eyes.
Definitely
I mean, they got weird eyes. They got like their pupils are like,
I don't like their
shape and like
they're so entwined with demonic and Satanism, right? It's always like a goat's head.
What is their capacity cognitive?
They're pretty smart from what I could tell.
Are they smart?
I
don't know.
They're smarter than cows for sure.
Like, they eat like 10 fucking cans and stuff. How smart can they be?
They'll eat anything. I mean, that's like, but they're very like, they're like mischievous. I don't even know if they're smart, but they're definitely like mischievous. Like they're
again, very much like Sled. We'll eat anything. Probably evil, playful.
Right?
I'm totally right.
Like if you put a goat would eat a couch. Like if you put a couch out there in the pasture,
I have heard
they'll climb on shit. You'll randomly like I just know I've driven through the country and it's like randomly like there'll be a goat like on the roof of something. Like you're driving like on the roof of like little things. Like, how the fuck did it even get up there? Like,
well, Portland used to have them cutting grass.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I've heard that they will do that.
Yes, there's actually an area off in town called the Goat Blocks, because that's where, before it was developed, the goats there would, and I say before it was developed, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the goats would go there and just keep the grass.
That's how you know they're tough, because like even all the bums in Portland, like, they can be trusted around goats.
Exactly.
It's too much to deal with. They use them in Austin to cut. I think they started using them to like because they can eat poison ivy, so like they'll use them for that.
Yeah.
Like
that's
on the
amazing.
Trails. Have y'all ever seen those fainting goats?
Yes.
Like in real life? You like scare them and they like get all stiff and fall. Yeah. No, I mean I love this movie. I think, like I said, I think. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I think it's just really well done. I really think a lot of Robert Eggers. I feel like I think when he's done making movies, he'll probably be looked at back as one of those, like, one of the greatest. I mean, this is like, maybe it sounds like hyperbole, but one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. Like everything he makes is like he makes really good movies.
They'll certainly look back on him many years from now. If he's not generally acknowledged as one of the greats, it'll be, this guy's the slept on great. Have you heard of this guy? This guy's one of the, you know what I mean? Like you do with bands and stuff. Like, all right, let's give ratings real quick before we get out of here. Then I know we don't do machetes. We do
machetes. We
do machetes. Okay. We're doing machetes for this. All right. I'm
cleavers for chopping it up.
All right. So I'm going to go. Yeah. I mean, this again, we always fall into this. How do we rate? Is it the best of what you think or best for what it's trying to do? I'm going with the best for what it's trying to do. I'm going to go 5 out of 5. You can't cut any fat off of this. This is, I mean, this is about the economy of motion that you can get. So I'm going all 5. What do you guys think?
I'm going to have to agree with you, Jess.
Joel?
You're right.
I'm going to go 4.5 just because folk horror is not my thing. And I've only given like The Exorcist a 5 so far, but it's still a great.
So movie. You're the fucking Russian judge. Sled, what do you got?
I give it 5 also. There's not a single thing about this movie I would change that I think would make it better. Like, there's nothing that I want when I like it's. I mean, I don't want to say it's flawless, but I mean, to me, as far as when close. I watch it, there's nothing I would do to change it that I think would improve it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, there you go.
I agree.
All right, guys. Thanks once again for listening. That's a wrap for us here at Chopping It Up. Thanks for joining us for our Prime Cuts episode. We'll see you next time.